Hola mi gente. Hey guys, welcome to my channel Phlava. The flavor today is Jordan Peterson in White Privilege and Safe Spaces Are Dangerous Ideas. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any future videos. So, without any further ado, let's take a look at Jordan Peterson in White Privilege and Safe Spaces Are Dangerous Ideas.
Just one quick note before I get into my two questions I have. I want, as a gay male, I want to say thank you for speaking the truth on the whole pronoun thing, because that drives me absolutely ballistic in today's society. Now, two quick questions. I want to get your view on the social construct of a safe space that universities like my own here in Ottawa have tried to push on us.
Yeah.
And as well, I want to understand what your view on this whole white privilege thing is that universities like Ottawa, UT, Ryerson, Yale, all these other universities are trying to cram down.
Yeah, well, I think the idea of white privilege is absolutely reprehensible. And it's not because white people aren't privileged.
Leave the clapping, man.
You know, we have all sorts of privileges, and most people have privileges of all sorts, and you should be grateful for your privileges and work to deserve them, I would say. But the idea that you can target an ethnic group with a collective crime, regardless of the specific innocence or guilt of the constituent elements of that group, there is absolutely nothing that's more racist than that. It's absolutely abhorrent. I can't... Yeah.
Is it racist, though? It's a majority white crowd, eh?
I mean, if you really want to know more about that sort of thing, you should read about the kulaks in the Soviet Union in the 1920s, K-U-L-A-K-S, because they were farmers who were very productive. They were the most productive element of the agricultural strata in Russia. And they were virtually all killed or raped and robbed by the collectivists who insisted that because they showed signs of wealth, they were criminals and robbers.
Wow, that's a totally different scenario.
And one of the consequences of the prosecution of the kulaks was the death of 6 million Ukrainians from a famine in the 1930s.
They're making assumptions of how they got their wealth.
Collectively held guilt
they don't know
at the level of the individual as a legal or philosophical principle is dangerous. It's precisely the sort of danger that people who are really looking for trouble would push. So, and just a cursory glance at 20th century history should teach anyone who wants to know exactly how unacceptable that is.
Okay, so let me pause here. The destruction of the kulaks is what another race or another culture presumed how they attained their wealth, right? Didn't know, assumed it, made the presumption of it, and all the inaccuracies of that, right? And then because of that, they behaved a particular way to the kulaks in regards to the kulaks' destruction. In regards to white privilege in main society here, I can only say for specificity that if I can see that you are experiencing white privilege, then it's a different scenario, right? So for example, if I'm in a vehicle with my white counterpart and he's driving, and I know he's speeding, he knows he's speeding, he gets pulled over by a white cop, and through their dialogue, the white cop says, just watch your speeding, go ahead, right? Yet I know the week before, when I was pulled over and I was speeding, I got a ticket and I wasn't treated that way. Now I can say, by example, that's, and how it was handled through dialogue, through my dialogue with the cop officer and through my friend's dialogue with the cop officer, wasn't anything significantly different. I can say through example, you experience white privilege there, right? Now, I guess to make that claim on a race that they experience white privilege, I'll agree with them to that extent. You can't make that claim when you don't know that. You don't know a specific white person's plight in regards to what they have experienced and what they haven't experienced. So in that respect, to his comparison, yes. To the kulaks, yes, right? Other races or other cultures are making an assumption of you, how you attained your wealth, and are making an assumption of a particular or white race that you experience white privilege, when specific people in white culture may have never experienced white privilege. So I'll agree with him to that extent, but that's not saying that a good portion of white culture haven't experienced white privilege, right? I can only make that accusation if I see specific examples, but I can't not say that it doesn't exist, especially if I see it existing. Okay, let's move on.
With regards to your first, okay, there's the safe space issue, but you also said something right at the beginning. You announced your sexual preference at the beginning, and I understand exactly why you did that, but I have a comment about that. And this is something for people in the audience to think about. I've received at least 25 letters from transsexual people, and that's quite a few, because there aren't that many transsexual people, right? So they're rare. They're very rare, and every single one of them but one was supportive. And the one that wasn't supportive was mildly critical. And they said exactly the same thing that you said, roughly speaking, is that, and so one of the things we want to remember is that just because some noisy activists stand up and say, because I'm a member of this group, or even worse, because I say I'm a member of this group, I am therefore an advocate for that group's interests, is we should just dispense with that self-identification as a worthy representative instantaneously, because it's predicated on the idea that one dimension of a person's identity is sufficiently what would you say, broad and all-encompassing, so that you can infer their political stance, for example, which you can't. And so the trans people that have written me, they all say the same thing. A, those people do not speak for me. B, we're not all the same. C, most of us think that the enforced pronoun issue is doing nothing but drawing negative attention to us. D, most of us just want to be referred to by the other pronoun. That's the whole point. So, so this has been very, very reassuring to me, because one of the things I presumed right from the onset was that there was no evidence whatsoever that this nonsensical legislation and the postmodern idiocy behind it is in fact demanded by this community, or that it will in any way be in anyone's best interest. No, I don't buy it. And I think it's rotten right to the core. So,
yeah, I hear you.
And then the safe space issue. It's like, if you need a safe space, see a therapist. Really. University is not a safe space. If university is done right, it is a radically unsafe space. If you want to go somewhere and get yourself taken apart intellectually, and then hopefully put back together, then you go to university. Everything you believe should be challenged in every possible way, but not in a destructive sense, right? Like when you're renovating a house, you don't just burn it to the ground and walk away. But that's what the postmodernists do to adolescence, by the way. You dismantle it in consultation with its occupant, attempting to build something more beautiful and functional on the foundation. It's not a safe space. In my classes, and I tell my students this right at the beginning, I'm trying to get them to understand why they are Nazis. Right, there isn't anything more unsafe than that. And all of them, virtually all of them, write back to me afterwards and say, this was the most worthwhile class I've ever had in my life, and it changed my life. It's like, well, I'm teaching you the worst possible thing about yourself. And your response is, oh, that was so useful, and I'm way better than I was. But it's in keeping with the idea that you need to be exposed to things that you fear and hate, because that's where salvation lies, roughly speaking.
White privilege and safe spaces are dangerous ideas. And what he was speaking in regards to university, not safe space. Right? So I appreciate that. I appreciate what he was speaking in regards to what the 25 transgenders mailed to him or emailed to him, and what their thoughts were in regards to what's happening in society. And that not all of them are the same, and not one person should be speaking for them. And just because like that person who asked the question and identified himself you know, I'm a homosexual male. So am I supposed to now believe that you speak for all of them? Am I supposed to now believe that what the trials and tribulations they go through, you support all of that? Politically, you support that? You stand on that side? Socially, you stand on that side in every aspect? As the transgender people spoke, they're all different. They all don't believe in the same belief just because they're transgender, right? So don't preempt your question to tell me what you identify with. So you think I'm going to respect you in representing that culture in every aspect in society, politically, so on and so forth. Just ask your question. Just ask your, because that's why you're doing that. That's why you're preempting your question, because you want me to make that inference of what you represent. I don't know what you represent mentally. That may be what you are. So that doesn't, I don't know what you think politically in that respect. I don't think what you think socially in that respect. As the transgender said, not all of them are the same. In fact, they're vastly different. So don't preempt your question to tell me what you identify as. Just ask your damn question. My man right there, I appreciate that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for any future videos. Until next time, deuce.
Watching your fingers.